Hello folks, this is Sullla once again. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. In this video, we're going to be looking at a composition that ends up with Ocean 6. That is one of the more popular compositions, although also one of the more difficult ones to run at the moment. Ocean 6 basically gives you enormous amounts of mana constantly, so your champions are able to use their abilities much more often than they normally would be able to. This is taken from a ranked game. Yes, this is actually the first ranked game that I did in placements. So since this is a placement match, you can assume that the overall skill level is fairly low. So you're seeing a lot of mostly silver borders here. It turned out that based on the matchmaking reset here at the beginning of kind of season 2 of Teamfight Tactics, apparently I was placed kind of at like high silver as far as my matchmaking rating goes. So even though I technically am like Iron 1, the matchmaking is like high silver, roughly speaking. So anyway, one of the things that you always want to note at the beginning of these matches is what is the element, and it turns out that the element is going to be ocean for this game. Ocean map makes it much easier to run an ocean composition, so it naturally tends towards mages, it tends towards summoners, anyone who uses their abilities, as opposed to an inferno map, which leads towards more of an auto-attack based composition, so better for assassins, better for Rangers, although no one really is running them right now because that's kind of a weaker setup. Better for Berserkers, you get the idea. So we're on an ocean map here, and as we're going to see, the ocean map will open up some abilities that would not normally be available unless it were on an ocean map, particularly in terms of the elemental aspects of one champion, which we'll get to in a little bit later. So seeing that this is an ocean map, I've gone ahead and grabbed Thresh here. By the way, there's a lot of chat going on here, but I just ignore that. One of the players was not being very polite, so as I said, this is pre-recorded footage. I can't edit this. There's no replays for Teamfight Tactics, so anyway, you can ignore as you wish. I just ignore while playing what people are saying in the chat. If they get obnoxious enough, you can mute them, but oh well. In any case, though, so we're doing the minion rounds here. I picked up the Thresh. The only bad thing about Thresh is the item that came with him. Thresh came with the recurve bow, which is not really an ideal item for Thresh. It doesn't really build into anything that he wants all that badly. But having Thresh does allow me to make Ocean here, and you can see me highlighted. Ocean, all allies gain mana every 4 seconds. I go ahead and highlight things sometimes in case I might end up using them in a video later, so this actually ended up working pretty well in that regard. So Ocean, as I said, your allies gain mana every 4 seconds. Ocean 2, they gain 15 mana every 4 seconds. And you can get up to Ocean 4, it's 35 mana, so it's more than double. And then if you can make Ocean 6, you actually end up getting 60 mana every 4 seconds, which is just ridiculous. That means people can just use their abilities non-stop. Here I have kind of gotten an empty board. I haven't really gotten anything that I want, at least as far as the champions that I'm looking for. I'm hoping to play some kind of Ocean plus Mage composition, which is one of my favorites. I've already highlighted it in another video. But I don't get anything like that here, so I'm just loading up on different champs. You see me, I do get the double Renekton's, which is kind of nice. Renekton is seen as being an overpowered champion in this particular patch. What people are doing is they are running, they're like hyper-rolling until they can get a Renekton 3-star, and then loading him up with defensive items. Things like Warmogs, Thornmail, Phantom Dancer, but just like lots of defensive items. And then they rely on his ultimate, which gives him back extra health depending on how many enemy champions he hits. Then they just rely on his ultimate to provide survivability and to deal damage. So yeah, he is best if you load him up with defensive items. So I don't have that right now. I'm actually just going to go ahead and toss this Bloodthirster on him just so I can make use of the items I've gotten. But ideally, if you're going to run Renekton, you want to put defensive items on him, not a Bloodthirster. Like, it would be much better if he had, what's a defensive item that would be useful on him? I'm going to look at the item list here. Warmogs would be nice here. I mentioned Phantom Dancer is pretty good. Thornmail is pretty nice. Anyway, so I was easily able to win that first round thanks to the 2-star Renekton and the Ocean trait feeding him extra mana. Right now, I'm looking at the other team compositions. And as I look at the other players, I looked, I'm like, doesn't look like anyone else is playing an Ocean setup. So that seems like a really good game to try to play this. No one else is going for the Ocean champs. We're on an Ocean board, so it feels like a good setup for me here. So I'm also going to get a little bit lucky. I am able to make another 2-star unit. I'm able to get Talia 2-star. So I'm going to sell some of these units that don't really fit my comp. I have these 2 random Volibears, which I could potentially sell. but it doesn't hurt to run. You know, it never hurts to like have another 2-star unit, so I'm hoping that maybe I'll be able to make Sullla. For the moment, I'll at least hold him on my bench and see what happens. Sullla doesn't fit in this composition, but early in the game, it's usually better to play 2-star champs over just playing other stuff. So here we've got an interesting match over against Kuga, who by the way is saving gold and has already managed to make it up to 30 gold somehow. Not exactly sure how he got quite that much. Maybe he just hasn't been buying champions. 30 gold, and has also managed to make 2-star champions already. So we had a Renekton matchup at the front. I do win the Renekton match, but now here's the problem. The Druid is kicking in for his side. Both of his units are getting use of the Druid. I think it's officially called Origin, but basically Druid gives you health regeneration. They're getting back extra health regen, and once my Renekton's gone, I don't really have any damage, so I'm not able to get through and finish off that. But at least I didn't lose too badly there. And here I'm just picking up more champs, trying to give myself more options. So I've got 2 out of 3 Thresh, I've got 2 out of 3 Vlad, I have 2 out of 3 LeBlancs, and I'm just thinking of different ways I can send my composition. Again, I'm looking at other comps. I've just had an Assassin, Shadow, there's someone who's apparently AFK, that last person who really hasn't made anything yet, Tip Top Turtle. So again, I'm like, alright, no one's playing Ocean Mages, like let's try to go into that and see what would happen. As it turns out, I'm not going to get a whole bunch of mages in this, but we'll get to that in a minute. For right now, I've still got Renekton frontlining for me, a great frontline. Looks like he's going to die, but then nope, gets to ult, he hits 2 champs, gets a ton of health back. And then we also look like we're going to lose our backline champ, but no, Thresh is on the spot with that shield, with the Lantern shield. And Thresh is actually quite strong in this patch. He was really weak in the initial patch for set 2 of Teamfight Tactics, but he got buffed in this most recent patch, which is 9.23, as I record this, and ended up becoming a much stronger champion. In any case, though, so I won 2 out of the first 3 rounds. Now we get to the carousel. This means I'm going to be one of the last to pick. I'm going to be in the 3rd rotation. It's always 2 champs get a chance to pick at once if you pay close attention to this. So now it's going to be my turn to pick. And I'm going to go for the Nautilus here, because Nautilus is another one of these champions that fits this composition I'm going for. Ocean Mage basically relies on having the Nautilus plus Thresh pairing to provide frontline protection. Nautilus and Thresh are both Ocean and both Warden, so when matched together they both get the Warden bonus, which gives them extra armor. How much is Warden? I've got the cheat sheet here, so I can refer to it while recording this. Warden 2 Warden is 150% extra armor, so it makes them stronger against physical damage, if not helping them against magic damage. I could actually take out the Syndra right now and put in the Nautilus. Let's see if I do this, because that would make the Warden buff for me, and that would probably be more valuable. Again, looking at other comps, you should always be paying attention to what other people on the board are running. There's one person who's running Ocean, one player, and then there's still one person who seems to be AFK in the game right now. It looks like I am not going to put in the Nautilus, although I think that would be better to do so, just so I can make Ocean plus Warden here, but we'll see. In any case, now we're up against Danny Lillane, and he is going to jump on my backlines, which is not great. But fortunately, Talia is going to get the Seismic Shove off, and then we get another Clutch Lantern from Thresh. Going to provide just a little bit more survivability. Still looks bad for us, but don't forget we've got that Renekton 2-star, so he's going to be able to use his ult. Is this going to be enough? No, actually doesn't look like it. Unless maybe, nope, but Diana gets her shield off again. So it's going to be reasonably close, but not quite enough. I think maybe if he'd been attacking the LeBlanc instead of attacking the Diana, I think maybe he would have won that. So anyway, here we're going to get a pretty big round in terms of hitting stuff. We hit the Syndra 2, and I have been reasonably lucky in getting the Talia 2 plus the Syndra 2. And then we're also going to get the Volibear 2, who's just still chilling on my bench, not doing anything at the moment. And I do have a fair amount of money sitting on my bench right now, which is not ideal. My economy has been fairly weak thus far in the game because I've been, like I said, I've been sitting on a lot of money on my bench. So that's not what you'd ideally want to see. By the way, there's also another Nautilus that I haven't seen yet that I do want to pick up as well. Talia standing on that Ocean tile means that she instantly ults at the start of the fight, which probably isn't ideal. She does get a nice Seismic Shove backwards on the Diana there to knock her away. And we're actually going to end up winning this round rather easily. It would probably be better to put the Syndra on the Ocean tile, just so, because her ult is more useful. It's not that great to have the Talia Seismic Shove right at the start of the fight. So I'm going to sell the LeBlanc, and then I pick up the Nautilus, and then I sell the other LeBlanc to get back to 10 gold. So that's what we're going to end up with here. So right here, we've got a minion round. I do want to level up so that I can get another unit. I'm going to stick in Volibear just because he's a 2-star unit. Again, he doesn't make anything for this comp, but just another 2-star unit to front line seems good. And then I noticed the most interesting part of this video, this whole sequence, and the reason why I picked this game for the replay. I see the Qiyana down there. So Qiyana is an assassin, and she also matches the elements of the board that she is on. So here on an ocean map, she is ocean. If we were on, say, a cloud map, she would be cloud assassin. She's a pretty good unit. She doesn't seem to be heavily contested right now in different team comps, but her ult is great. She has like a 3-second. Was it level 1 star? She has a 3-second stun. At level 2 star, she has a 4-second stun. You can get her up to 3 star. You get a 5-second stun. Am I gonna pick her up here? Yes. So at the last second, I'm like, all right, let's pick up the Qiyana, and this would end up being hugely consequential in this game that I managed to grab the Qiyana. So this is really nice because I can pick up more ocean, which is great for my composition, while also getting Qiyana into this comp. Again, she's an assassin, and assassins generally don't fit that well with ocean mage. But there is one thing that's really nice about Qiyana here, and that is that she can hold on to the AD items that I'm inevitably going to get when I'm playing this comp. Because like you're always going to get some items, well I guess not always, but generally speaking you're going to get some items that don't necessarily fit with your composition. Like in this game, for example, I got that early Bloodthirster, and I don't really have a good champ to run that Bloodthirster on, so I'm going to go ahead and you're going to see me sell the Renekton. It's probably a little early to sell the Renekton, honestly, but that is going to allow me to put in Qiyana, and because I have that Bloodthirster, now I can toss it on her, and that allows us to make Ocean 4 and Warden 2. So again, Ocean 4 is going to be 35 mana every 4 seconds. If you watch the little mana bars of my champ, you'll see them just jump up every couple of seconds. And that, even though, so like right now the weakness of my comp is quite tanky right now, but it really doesn't have much in the way of damage. And Qiyana in here is also really helpful because she actually does provide damage. She is an assassin, she is going to hop into the back line, and with that Bloodthirster she will be lifestealing on her auto attacks, and once her mana bar fills up she will get off those big stuns. So that's kind of my hope right now, is to have the Nautilus and Volibear and Thresh kind of hold the front line while Qiyana jumps in the back and kills people, and then I have Syndra to provide some extra damage. Also, I get a big hit there. The Nautilus 2-star is really big for my comp, because when I dropped the Renekton 2-star, it did lose out on a lot of frontline like tankability. I know that's not really a word, but whatever. You get the point. By dropping the Renekton 2-star, my frontline was weakened. So I've still got let's see, I've got Nautilus and Thresh. Thresh is still only 1-star. I've been holding on to him for a while. And then I've got the Volibear 2-star as well. So Volibear, like I said, doesn't fit this comp, but he's there just to provide tankiness, and I don't really have anyone else to stuff in there right now. Anyway, here we are up against Kuga. Note that Kuga has still not lost a single round yet this game. He is running a Woodland Druid setup, and he seems to be doing something that has been really popular in recent patches, which is to run Woodland Druid and like just hyper roll for 3-star units. This is known as egg rolling in the current patch, and it is very, very popular. You just run Woodland Druid, and then you also pick up as many Renektons as possible, and you kind of run Renekton 3-star and Woodland Druid 3 stars, and that's kind of like the overall setup. It seems to work really well. There's apparently someone in Korea who's like a top 5 player on the ladder who literally does this every single game and is still like a top 5 challenger player. And it's become really popular here in North America because it's a really easy comp to play. It's like pick up Renekton, pick up Woodland Druid, and then just keep re-rolling constantly. There's actually several different players who I believe are going for that in this game. As I said, it kind of exploded in popularity because it's a really easy comp to play. It doesn't involve a lot of thinking on the part of the players. It's definitely going to get nerfed in the next patch, so it won't be around forever. This time we're up against Dragonflag, who again is doing a kind of a variation on the same thing. Now he's also got Diana, but again he's got the Renekton that he's using for frontline ability, and this round not going quite as well. He was able to get a copy on one of his units, and one of the biggest weaknesses of my situation in this particular battle was all my champs just like attacked different units. They didn't focus their damage very well, and so with the Druid providing health regeneration for that other team that Dragonflag was running, they were regenerating health, and I was not focus firing, so to speak. Not that I can control that very well. So it ended up being a loss, and kind of a bad loss, because I lost a fair amount of health. We are back to the carousel again. It is my turn to pick. I already have a Giant's Belt, so what I want to do is to grab one of these needlessly large rods, because that will make a Morellonomicon, which I will definitely want on someone. Probably want to put that on Brand. when I can find Brand. That's what this comp is going towards. This is an Ocean Mage setup, and we're going to want to put Brand in eventually. So there we go. Now I've got the item from Morellonomicon. Selling Twitch also got me up to 40 gold, so I was able to make another point of gold point of interest there. So anyway, since I lost that last round, I'm going to go ahead and level here. I had the money to do so, and I just see a random Orange sitting there. And I was like, all right, well, you know what? Let's just put in Orange because that'll make Electric too. And even though I'm not really planning on playing Electric, this is the whole point of teamfight tactics. Like, you've got to adjust and play the strategy that works. So you've got to adjust and go with what the game is giving you. So I was like, all right, let's level here and let's just toss in Orange. So Electric 2, if you haven't seen this before, I think I highlighted this in my last video, but Electric provides damage anytime your champion deals or receives a critical hit. So that's those flashes of electricity you're seeing from Orange and Volibear. There it is. So Electric 2 doesn't do a ton of damage. It does 60 damage from Electric 2. Electric 4, you can get up to, or excuse me, Electric 3 is 200 damage. Electric 4 is 500 damage. Electric 4 is really ridiculous. So the Electric 2 is not going to do a lot, but it's like, hey, why not just get a little bit of extra damage in there, buff up Volibear, who's been a great unit for me up to this point in time, and just help me survive here through the mid game. Right now, what I want to do is just econ. Like, I really just want money, continue econing. I want to get to higher levels. The big weakness of these Woodland Druid comps that have been getting run, the Woodland Druid hyper roll, egg roll, whatever you want to call it. The weakness of it is they do stay at low levels. They've got to stay at low levels because those champions are all one cost and 2 cost units. So like, look at Kuga. I believe he's only level 5. I don't think Danny's going for that, but yeah, some of these other setups are really only level 5, whereas I'm level 6. So I just want to get to a higher level than these other comps, where I can rely on having more units and having more of those synergies on the left side, like higher levels of Ocean, higher levels of like Mage and Warden, blah blah blah. And if I can do that, I think I have a decent chance of doing well in this match. By the way, Electric came in super clutch there. Look how many of my units were almost killed. Volibear almost died, Thresh almost died, Orin almost died. But the Electric kicked in just enough extra damage so that I was able to win that round over Danny Lillane. So yeah, Electric is not going to be part of the final composition here, but it's hopefully going to let me make it to endgame. In fact, I find another Orin there, so it's like, all right, well, hey, maybe we'll be able to get to Orin 2-star. It's not ridiculous. I could find another Orin here. Also, stuff I'm picking up on my bench. I've had the Talia sitting on my bench since the very beginning of the game. I did play her in 1 or 2 rounds, but she's mostly been on the bench. And see, there is Kuga. He's level 5. He's got the 3-star Nico. He is doing the Wood Druid egg roll thing, which, as I said, is quite strong right now. So to get back to my previous point, the Talia is on the bench. I've already found 5 Talias. I would love to be able to get up to 3-star if possible. I've also picked up a Malphite on the bench. I'm going to put in Talia and Malphite together at some point. I haven't reached that point yet. By the way, I get a ton of items right here. So I'm going to go ahead and make Ionic Spark on Nautilus, provide some more tankiness for him. By the way, there is the Orin 2-star. So this unit that I really had no intention of running has now kind of like fallen into my lap. It's like, all right, so we're gonna sit on the whole Electric setup, and just rely on that to get us through the mid game here. Meanwhile, I've also got some of these items. I want to use some of these. Like, I don't want to use up. I want to make sure I hold on to a needlessly large rod plus a Giant's Belt, because that will make Morellonomicon, and then I have another needlessly large rod to make for some other AP item. I'm saving those for a Brand later on. I could potentially put them on Syndra right now, but I'm expecting to get Brand relatively soon, so I'm going to hold them on the bench, which again is questionable. It might be better just to put them on Syndra right now, but then I'd have to sell Syndra, and I don't want to sell her. So for this particular comp, we are up against Tip Top Turtle. He is doing the same thing. It's Woodland Druid, lots of 3-stars, plus a Renekton 3-star. So we're actually able to kill everything, but we can't kill the Renekton because, look, he has all defensive items. He's got a Phantom Dancer, he has an Iceborne Gauntlet, and then he has that Negatron Club. Probably will build towards a Dragon's Claw, Dragon's Talon. I can never remember the name of that item. But yeah, so he, again, builds all defensive items, and then he relies on Renekton using his ult for lifesteal and to do damage, and that's really, really hard to deal with. So that's the problem I have right now. In any case, so I am just trying to level as much as possible, trying to econ. I'm close to level 7. I'm looking at different items I can make, but I was like, all right, let's hold out here for a little bit longer. Almost to level 7. I did drop that round. I would also really like to find another one of these assassin champs here, so I can get make use of my Bloodthirster and Giant Slayer. 2-star there would be really, really nice. And so here's Kuga. This is, again, the person who's in first place on health. He's got all the 3-star units. Note that this is exactly the same comp that we saw the last player running. It's the Renekton 3-star plus Woodland Druid. This is definitely not a comp that I beat right now, but the goal is to find a setup that can beat this eventually before the end of the game. So yeah, Kuga is definitely stronger than me, but look at the economic perspective. I'm level 6, I have max gold, I'm almost level 7. He's level 5, he only has 20 gold in the bank, so he's really maxed out his situation right now. There is the Qiyana, so that is a big, big hit. And then I have Synders on the bench, so what I probably should do is sell the current, or is load up the current Syndra with items, and then be prepared to replace her with another Syndra later on. Because like I've got the 2 Syndras on the bench, but I don't think I'm actually going to end up buying them. And here's a situation where I'd like to get in the Talia as well, but I'd have to take something out, and there's really nothing else I'd rather take out right now. So I'm just going to put in Malphite. Malphite provide a little bit more frontline, a little bit more crowd control if he can manage to get his ult off, which would be really nice. And hey, look, here's another person running a variation of this same strategy. There is the Renekton with almost entirely defensive items. By the way, great Malphite ult right into those assassins trying to hit the backline. However, Dragonflag does not have a 3-star Renekton. Another clutch lantern from Thresh there. And because his Renekton is only 2-star instead of 3-star, he's going to end up losing. But Dragonflag's in good shape economically. Look, he's level 6, he's got max gold. So he's not in bad shape for the future there. But yeah, you can see that the Renekton has become super duper popular in this patch. And there's like 4 different people running a variation of this. So once again, we're back to the carousel. I am going to be one of the last ones to pick again, but I never really mind being last to pick on the carousel because that means I've got a lot of health, and health is just so valuable in teamfight tactics. You don't have to have the best composition, and you can still be like top 2 or 3 if you just have a lot of health. So I'm looking at what's left over here, and I'm like, all right, well, let's just, nothing really fits here. Let's just grab another Malphite. There was other stuff I would have preferred. I would have really liked to get another needlessly large rod because that could make death cap. I would have liked to have gotten the Nami because that would, honestly, that would allow me to make Ocean 6 if I was able to get the Nami in there along with the Vlad. But instead, I'll just take the Malphite. He's got a BF sword, which doesn't fit on Malphite at all, so whatever. But Malphite with a BF sword is still better than Malphite with no items, so we'll put him in there and just continue to hold here on the bench. I've actually got a very full bench right now. So again, I'm still trying to get as close to level 8 as possible. I want to keep econing, stay over 50 gold, continue to put money into experience. Now, if I start losing rounds, I'll have to re-roll and I'll have to start rolling for champs. But as long as I'm winning rounds, I'm still good in health, right? I still got 58 health, so I don't feel the need to re-roll. Like, I'm very cognizant of thinking about whether I need to be re-rolling here or not. By the way, Malphite, look at that ult he gets off. Without his ult, I definitely do not win this fight. So that's why I've got the Malphite in there. Even though Malphite doesn't really make anything as far as my composition, man, when he gets that ult right into the middle of the enemy team, oh boy, does a lot of work. And by the way, check out who does the most damage. I think it's going to show the damage for him. Look how much damage Qiyana did. Qiyana did 4,000 damage right there. She is really carrying me through these fights as well. So it's like Malphite and Nautilus are providing the CC. I'm getting a little bit of extra damage from the electric that I'm running. And then Qiyana's basically my carrier right now, and I would not be winning these rounds without her. So, I got a bunch of AD items, which otherwise would not fit in this composition at all. Here I'm checking what the other teams are running. Again, I'm thinking about it. I'm most concerned about what Kuga is running, because he's got the Woodland Druid, although I think I can outscale that. And then also, I think Tip Top Turtle and Big Buck 95 are running variations on that same setup. But yeah, without Qiyana, I would not be able to just sit here econing. So she has really been the MVP of my setup thus far, because I mean, you need a damage source on your team. You can't just have tankiness. I mean, this round doesn't look like it's going that well, but watch this. Watch this. We're going to see the Nautilus, get the knock-up on Nocturne there, and then Kalia is going to be able to finish it off. So we end up winning that round too, even though it didn't look like we were going to. Here's the minion round, and there finally, I'm going to see what I've been waiting for. We're finally going to get Brand to show up. This has not been a good game as far as Brand showing up. So this is not one of those matches where you get double Brands at level 5 or something. I'm level 7, I'm almost level 8, and this is the first time that Brand has showed up. So he's very late in arriving. But with Brand here, now I definitely want to go to 3 mages. I've really been running Ocean, I've been running this Ocean Warden Electric for a while. But this is finally time to start dropping some of the Electric and look to go into a more classic Ocean plus Mage setup. along with Warden, I guess, because I've actually got Warden 4 is actually pretty nice here. So we're going to pick up more gold here from the Raptors, more gold. Do we get anything else in terms of items? So far I've got no items, just gold. Alright, I get one item, but it's a big, big hit. I get another Jesus Sullla John, and this is perfect for what I want to run. Alright, so go to level 8. Now it's time to put in brand. I'm going to take out the Ornn, and I'm going to put in the Talia. So now we're up to Mage 3, which means 50% chance to double cast. There's the Morellonomicon. And there is the death cap, and it's like, all right, here we go. This is what we want. And then I find another brand, and I was like, all right, well, there's that Pico I've been using since the beginning of the game, and we just instantly go up to brand 2, which is just amazing. That's what I want. I was like, all right, well, at this point, I can probably econ up to 9, but I just decided to reroll to 50, and then I find a Nami. I was like, ooh, Nami, that's what I want to find. I was like, you know, if I can get Nami plus Vlad in there, that's Ocean 6. And that would be really, really nice. By the way, note that even though I only have one champion left, that bouncing brand ult does so much damage, and then we get the finish. Really, really nice stuff. Again, like I said, MVP. Really has been my MVP there, with an assassin that doesn't currently fit this. And we even managed to hit Vlad too, so I'm like, alright, this is great. Now I just need to get to level 9. I don't want to drop Volibear just yet. I mean, I could drop Volibear for Vlad, and maybe that would actually be the right thing to do, but I decide, no, let's hold here. We're going to continue to run this. I do like having Volibear for the front line. Let's econ to level 9, and then we'll put in Vlad, and we'll put in Nami, and that'll make Ocean 6. Now, Ocean 6 you normally cannot make in most games unless you find an Ocean Lux, because there's actually only 4 champions, or no, excuse me, there's only 5 champions that normally make Ocean. Vlad, Syndra, Thresh, Nautilus, and Nami. And that only gets you to Ocean 5. So normally you need to find an Ocean Lux to get up to Ocean 6. Except, if you are on an Ocean board, you can run Qiyana because she becomes Ocean on the Ocean board. And that's exactly what I have here. So all along, early on when I was playing this game, I was like, alright, I'll run Qiyana right now, but I'm probably going to drop her later on, because like she's an assassin, she doesn't really fit. But at this point in the game, I was like, oh, you know what? I can run Ocean 6 by keeping her in there with those items that have been great on her, and then I just put in Nami and Vlad, and I'm Ocean 6, which is just going to be awesome for this setup. So a little bit of serendipity there, but you know, hey, you make use of what you've gotten. And I actually think Qiyana is just fantastic to run in an Ocean composition if you're on an Ocean board. And this is something I've actually been looking to do ever since I played this game, because let's face it, Ocean Lux is not something that comes along very often. Alright, up against Tip Top Turtle. Again, note that because so many of these players have been hyper-rolling, they're all lower levels than me. Like, Tip Top Turtle is level 6. Now, he might still beat me here. I'm not sure, but we get a fantastic knockup from Nautilus onto that Kha'Zix that was just about to kill Brand, and that allows Brand to get another ultimate off. And that ultimate is enough to finish that off and for us to win this match. So I will be picking late on the carousel, but look, we're already down to just 4 players. And there's an item here that I want very, very badly, which is that Seraph's on Master Yi. So I'm like, all right, happy to take that. I will grab that, and just like that, now I have perfect items on my brand. Morellonomicon, Death Cap, and a Seraph. This is probably the single best setup you can get on him, unless you wanted to put a defensive item on him, like, unless you wanted to put like a Guardian Angel, well, maybe not Guardian Angel so much, that's not a great item on him, but you could put like a Dragon's Claw, or you could put Phantom Dancer if you're worried about Assassin. So you might want to put a defensive item on it. But assuming you're not going for a defensive item, this is fantastic. And because it also opens up that Ocean Hex for Qiyana to grab, because this will now mean that Qiyana is going to ult at the start of these fights. So we're in late game now, only 4 players left. Now I really need to keep an eye on who I'm facing, so I have a better notion of who I'm going to be up against in these rounds. So we're hitting Big Buck 95 here. The Zephyr actually hits Qiyana, but Brand does manage to get his ult off. So is that going to be enough? We've actually lost a lot of members of our comp here, and I think it's not quite going to be enough. So no, we actually end up losing this. Big Buck 95 is running the Blade Master Nocturne, which is a very popular build at the moment as well. So I do lose to that, which is a shame, because I would have eliminated a player from the game if I had managed to win that, since he's on 7 health. But I'm going to go up to 9 right now. 5 Volibear, you've been fantastic in this game, but we are going to drop you right now. So I'm going to put it in the Vlad and put it in the Nami, and there we go. Ocean 6, that's what we want. So now I just need to look to try and pick up some more pairs. There we go. We get another huge hit. We get the Malphite 2. Malphite 2 makes it much more likely he's going to survive to get his ult off. I think that was one of the problems in that last fight. And as far as who we're going to be up against, we won't hit Big Buck 95. We're going to be up against Kuga or Tip Top Turtle. So Kuga's been the top player in health for most of the game, but he is only level 7 and I'm level 9. So watch, we're going to get the Malphite ult, knocks this comp into the Nami wave that knocks everybody else, and then Brand is ulting like crazy. And so remember that what is that? He has a Renekton 3-star, I believe, but we just easily overpower him. And his comp has not scaled that well into the late game. It is nowhere near as strong as what I have right now. I have a really nice CC chain into Brand damage. Oh, and by the way, note that Tip Top Turtle wins that. Why does he win? Because he has a Phantom Dancer on his Renekton, which means that Kha'Zix can't really do anything. Phantom Dancer makes you immune to crits, and Kha'Zix always critically strikes when he uses his ultimate. So pretty much made that Renekton immune to Kha'Zix. Here I'm going to get a nice item from the Elder Dragon, by the way. I'm going to get a Locket, which is going to provide more survivability, and now I'm looking to see what the other teams are getting. It doesn't look like there's too much that's going to help there. Blade of the Ruin King, Swordbreaker, not fantastic items. Also, I will definitely be up against Tip Top Turtle the next round because I was up against Kuga in the previous round, so I am expecting to be up against the other player. Right now, the only thing I really have to do is look to 2-star my Nami. I really can't see any champ that would want to take out of this composition. I think this comp is really, really strong. It has great crowd control, it has great damage, and it's got the ocean thing kicking in extra health constantly. So I'm going to run Syndra, just drop the Locket on her, so that's going to provide more of a shield. At this point, I'm just kind of like rolling for 3-star units / trying to make 2-star Nami. Nami's the only thing I'm really interested in. Honestly, I'm probably not going to make a 3-star unit at this stage. Also, I'm still holding on to Orin for some reason. Don't really understand this. I should probably be rolling a lot faster. Also, I should be picking up the Sullla here. You see me go past it. Because I do have 6 Thulias. That would have gotten me to 7. Getting close to Sullla 3-star. So I am up against Tip Top Turtle, as expected. And let's see what we've got here. So if I win this match, I do eliminate him from the game. So we're going to get off that tidal wave that's going to hit just about everybody. And just watch how fast Brand's mana bar fills up in these fights. Like, oh my god, every time that 60 mana kicks in, he gets like 2/3 of his mana bar filled every 4 seconds. And he just has perfect items. The Seraphs for mana, the Death Cap for more damage, and then the Needlessly Large Rod, or excuse me, the Morellonomicon to apply the healing debuff. So we just absolutely destroyed Tip Top Turtle. And we're looking great here. I mean, at this point, there's not really much for me to worry about in terms of money. There's a Nami. I can't roll as fast as some players do. I really try to watch, but what pops up. So there we go. Now we've got the Nami. And at this point, it's not really about champs. Like, I guess I can try to roll for 3 stars, but it's not really that big of a deal. So what I want to do is I want to position my units to try to take advantage of this matchup. Like, I'm going to shift Malphite a little bit to the right. So like, look at how his units are bunched up. So Kuga's setup would be really good against assassins because he's bunched up his carries. However, his setup is terrible against my comp because look at how they're bunched for Malphite and Nami. So like, watch, we're going to get the Malphite ult, hits everybody, into the Nami wave, hits everybody. He would do much better if he split up his units so that they were not clustered like that. Like I said, good against assassins because you want to stop the assassins from jumping on you, on your carries, but it is not good against the AoE CC that I'm running here. Area effect crowd control. So yeah, I mean, I easily won that last round, and so at this point, I mean, I could be focusing on rolling, but at this point, it's really more about, and there's another Sullla. At this point, I'm not really interested in re-rolling so much. I've already made my comp. I already have 2-star of everything here. I'm more focused on looking at positioning, and I'm looking at him. He hasn't really moved anything anywhere, so I'm like, all right, well, if you're going to keep everything in a box like that, we can just run this fight back again. I'm pretty confident I'm going to win this fight based on how he's positioned here. I mean, like, his setup is not bad, but he is only level 7 compared to my level 9. And I mean, that Nami tidal wave misses all of my champs. Malphite knock up into the Nami knock up. Brand is just ulting non-stop. Like, there's Brand fireballs everywhere. And yeah, so again, we easily win. Probably did like 25 damage there. So watch, GG. You're trash, kid. Okay. I'll take the first place finish. That's that. So yeah, like I said, this was my first ranked game. And hey, I finished in first place, so I'll take the 100 LP that comes out of this. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this. I really wanted to highlight this comp because I wanted to showcase how having the ocean on geez, I keep forgetting her name, Kalia. Every time that she, like, that really provided a huge difference for this comp, getting the ocean from her, allowed me to get up to ocean 6. I also really enjoyed how showcasing how I ran the electric in the mid game. Like, electric does not fit in this comp, really has no place in it, but it helped get me through the mid game. So like these champs I wasn't expecting to use, the Volibear, the Ornn, the Kalia, I think that's wrong, really helped get me through the mid game into the late game where I could rely on Brand and the CC chain from the rest of the team to just carry. So once again, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this video, catching the wave in an Ocean 6 comp. Until next time, take care.